Alright, I can do this. What? Okay, this is a pretty impressive layout for a single person. They even moved the TV up here. Nothing? I guess they're out. This must be where they took that shot at me. Casings are still here as well. And look at this gear. This is far too much for one person to use. Of course. The one night I'm actually ready for conflict and nobody's here. What's this? Cause for termination? Fleeing before testing? Are they hunting down infected people? Why not just wait until... Hold on. Is that supposed to be me? Why would they have a file on me? CCTV outside Rosewood Residential? Trespassing evacuation zone? If not caught and escorted to evac in less than 9 days, suspect must be terminated? It's been way longer than 9 days. This radio is the same as mine too. Have they been listening to my broadcasts? That could mean... Screw this, I'm done here. So, just to recap, the entire time that I've been trying to survive in Rosewood Residential, I've been the target of some crazy hazmat guy? Yeah, I needed to get out of Rosewood. Or, at the very least, leave long enough for the hunter to think that I've moved on. Well, maybe if I was lucky, he'd get infected and I wouldn't have to leave. But not wanting to take that chance, I headed straight for home and started planning. If I couldn't stay in one place any longer, it made no sense for me to leave all my gear behind, so step 1 was to plant small emergency caches around Rosewood in case I couldn't find what I needed. Step 2 was to find more supplies for the road, long enough to last a few days outside of Rosewood. And step 3 was to find a better vehicle, as the one that I was using was now starting to have engine troubles. With the plan set, I immediately went to packing some stuff into some separate bags to hide around Rosewood. Each bag would have stuff like food, tools, weapons and ammo. Just small stuff that would help me prepare for bigger hauls should I need to use them. Once I was happy with what I put in the bags, I went upstairs to change my clothes. If I wanted to walk around Rosewood avoiding being hunted, it didn't make sense to wear a bright red hoodie. With everything set, I headed for bed and got some sleep. I was relieved to wake up and not find some hazmat-wearing Spec Ops guy pointing a gun in my face. I packed my supply caches into the car and began looking for places I could discreetly hide them. Pulling up at Jenny's table, I remembered there was a small apartment just above the restaurant. That seemed like a decent enough place to hide my first cache. After planting it inside, I pulled out my map and marked it. It may have been a bit too close to my base, so I decided that the next cache should be further away. won't lie and say I wasn't nervous driving through the residential area of Rosewood, knowing that at any moment someone would try to take a shot at me. So I quickly planted the cache just opposite the school near some infected. When I was passing by the school, I got the idea to try and gather more reading materials. At least for the road. Maybe something on bushcraft or fishing. Anything that would help me stay out of Rosewood just a little longer than I planned. That's when I found the third location for my cache, a small house just opposite some woods. If I ever were to try and take my chances in the great outdoors, it made sense to leave some stuff close by in case I wasn't cut out for camping life. For my last cache, I wanted it to be the furthest away from my main base. That's when I found what looked to be some kind of logging area, with high walls to keep infected out. Speaking of which... After dealing with the infected, I entered the small office and planted the bag on the desk. Like that, I was back on the road looking for the final location. I stopped by the fire station one final time to grab whatever was left in the medical wing, and placed it all in the final cache. I knew that I wanted this last one to be close, just in case I couldn't get to the Jenny's one. The courthouse seemed like a big enough place to hide something. So I headed inside and planted the last cache inside a bin behind the reception desks. Arriving home, I went straight to step 2, which was packing some of the supplies that I had back home and putting them into the car. Once that was done, I headed for bed. I only had a few days left in Rosewood, so it made sense to try and grab whatever I could the next morning. I didn't bother with breakfast on the morning of the 16th day. I knew I needed to get some reading materials for my couple of days away from Rosewood, so where better to check than the school library? I didn't want to use the front doors in case someone would have been watching, so I stuck round back. Arriving at the library, I only had to deal with one hall monitor. Once I got inside, I can't say I was surprised to see that the school library remained untouched. I mean, who would choose a book on fishing over a gun and some ammunition? After grabbing a bunch of first edition survival books for dummies, I placed them into a nearby bag. And that's when I saw it. Not the infected, and not the hunter, but smoke. Smoke on the horizon. No. I sprinted back to my car. I didn't even notice that I left the books behind. I floated through Rosewood Residential, praying that what I saw wasn't what I feared. Pulling up to my base, my worst fear was confirmed. I didn't have time to try and put it out. whoever lit it could be nearby, so instead I drove to my first cache near Jenny's and... no. It was up in flames too. Surely they couldn't have gotten to the second. But that was gone. I was just there, and right before my eyes the second cache was gone. Up in flames. I wish I could say it was different for the third and fourth, but no. Each one was up in flames. A shiver ran up my spine as a thought suddenly occurred. If they were following me as I planted those supplies, were they following me now? I didn't look. I didn't want to look. Instead, I just raced to the final cache. Pulling up. Yes, it was untouched. I didn't bother checking what was inside. I raced back to my car and floored it. My time in Rosewood was over. After 20 minutes of driving, I pulled over and waited to see if anyone was following me. Looking over the horizon, nothing. No one was driving down the road, and no one was following me. For now, I just guessed that whoever was looking for me in Rosewood was gone. That night, I was forced to switch my warm bed for the cold inside of a small car. I changed my clothes so as to not catch any cold, and attempted to get some sleep. I barely slept that night. The next morning I was lacking energy and gas. Luckily I didn't need to drive very far before coming to a gas station. I pulled up and was stopped by the sudden sound of a helicopter approaching. I was going to try and flag it down for help, and then I heard the gunfire. Looking into a station, I decided then and there that my time in Knox County was over. I needed to escape, but before doing that I needed help. But from where? That's when I saw the posters. The only safe place for evacuation was a nearby city. With nowhere else to turn, it was my only and safest option. At least, that's what I thought.